This is the first chapter of ENT300, Fundamentals of Entrepreneurship, provided by Universiti Teknologi Mara. The theories and concept of entrepreneurship. At the end of the session, you should be able to understand the various theories and concepts of entrepreneurship and supposedly have deeper understanding of the discipline of entrepreneurship. The term entrepreneur finds its root in the 18th century literature. The first proper and formal definition of entrepreneur was provided by Richard Cantillon in 1755. The year after the name of the philosopher not refer to the year of the philosopher be born, but it is the year of the article or book published by that philosopher, that mention this statement. So in 1755, Cantillon describes an entrepreneur as an adventurer who invests in the purchase of goods and materials with the incentive of selling these in the future, or a person who undertakes to do a job. In Malaysia, the term usahawan is used for entrepreneur. It refers to individuals who prefer to make their professional careers running businesses themselves rather than getting employed at another company or organization. In 1776, Adam Smith, in his famous book, The Wealth of Nations, defined entrepreneur as an individual who undertakes the formation of an organization for commercial purposes by recognizing the potential demand for goods and services and thereby acts as an economic agent and transform those demand into supply. So the entrepreneur are the supplier who offer goods and services to the customer or household. In 1803, Jean-Baptiste Say emphasized the functions of coordination, organization, and supervision. Further, it can be said that the entrepreneur is an organizer and speculator of a business enterprise. The entrepreneur lists economic resources, which are land, labor, and capital, or even entrepreneur. Economic resources, also known as input or factor of production in economics. So these resources or inputs, something that you use in order to produce something else, after go through a production process. So economics, they define or categorize these resources into 4 categories: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. So the land is anything as long as it is in natural resources or original resource gifted by God. It can be a tree, a mineral, water, or even fish, as long as it is a natural resources. So all those things are categorized under one category, which is land. So land is not necessarily a soil. It can be anything as long as natural resources. And then labor is a human capital, can be a skilled labor or unskilled labor. So that one of the category of the resources. And another category is capital. Capital is anything as long as it is a human-made, or man-made items, such as machineries, tools, equipment, buildings, vehicle, or even a smaller things, for example, a clip paper. It can be a capital too. So to increase the capital is by increasing the investment. So according to Jean-Baptiste Say, the entrepreneur lists economic resources that I mentioned just now out of an area of lower productivity into area of higher productivity and greater yield or revenue. In 1848, the famous economist John Stuart Mill described entrepreneurship as the founding of a private enterprise, the private sector, the company. This encompasses the risk takers, the decision makers, and individuals who desire wealth by managing limited resources or factor of production just now to create new business venture or company. Carl Menger considers the entrepreneur as the change agent who transforms resources into useful goods and services by aiding an added value and often creating the circumstances that lead to industrial growth. So by adding an added value into goods and services, that goods and services become more attractive, more demands for that product. So the selling and buying activities lead to industrial growth or economic growth. Another philosopher that talk about entrepreneurship, if you notice, all those philosophers are a very ancient philosopher because this is the evolution of entrepreneurship theory. So we discuss about the entrepreneurship explained by ancient philosopher from the beginning, okay, until the modern theory. So from classical to neoclassical and then to modern theory. Joseph Schumpeter described entrepreneurs as innovative heroes or innovator. He described entrepreneurs as the elementary source of induction of innovation into business cycles. A business cycle is a economic condition that have leaps and bounds, ups and down. Sometimes economic growth is too high and sometimes economic growth is too low or recession. So the entrepreneur are the prime mover through the process of creative destruction. He explained the phenomenon of creative destruction, which was consequence of entrepreneurial efforts that disturbed the economic and corporate equilibrium, eventually leading to emergence of new industry and redundancy of the older ones. As the old industry declined, the new ones expand because imitators or the entrepreneurs that copies the behavior of other entrepreneurs with optimistic thinking about the profit based on previous entrepreneur success. So they continue to invest as the consequences overcapacity that depress or declining the profit. So the investment stop. So this time the economy goes into depression or recession. So the innovation stop. Okay, the innovation stop, but the invention continues. So you have to differentiate between innovation and invention. Innovation is you upgrade existing product, okay, into a new one. You improve the product. Invention, you create something new. So the innovation stop, but the invention continues because the entrepreneur desperate to get the profit, okay, to get out from the recession. So because of the continuity in the invention, so there is a sufficient stock of unexploited invention to encourage entrepreneur to begin innovation again. Okay, in this way, Schumpeter used entrepreneurship to explain economic growth and this business cycle ups and down of the economic, using the combination of economic and psychological ideas between innovation, invention. Alfred Marshall, I'm not sure whether it was in 1936 or 34, the process of entrepreneurship or business development is incremental, sedikit-sedikit, okay, or evolutionary. It evolves from sole proprietorship, which is business that has only one owner or own ownership, to a more bigger company, okay, such as public company. A public company is a company that has more structure, for example, in Sendian Berhad, where you has a contribution of many people from the stakeholders, from the management, CEO, and others. So during the pre-industrial period, the people produce goods and services for their self-sufficient only. During that time, the role of feudal system is very important. The landlord, okay, the servant. So that's why during the pre-industrial period, entrepreneurs were the businessmen who purchased goods in a particular locality and resold them to other locality. But after the Industrial Revolution, they produced goods and services in a massive scale, more than their need. So the excess production was sold overseas. So this is the Industrial Revolution story. So this international trade offered wide possibilities for economic initiative. And since the Industrial Revolution, the industrial entrepreneur has occupied a central position. They had to be able to estimate with precision the required investment and recruit the necessary labor. From the end of 19th century, year of 18 something, the socialization of capital has divided the function of entrepreneur between the manager and the shareholder. So the company become bigger and bigger because of evolution. Okay, the incremental of the business development that evolves from sole proprietorship, especially pre-industrial revolution, to a public company after the industrial revolution. Ibnu Khaldun or Abdul Rahman Mohamed Khaldun, the entrepreneur is seen as knowledgeable individual and is instrumental in the development of a city-state where enterprise will emerge. Greater production and maximum efficiency can be obtained with trade and specialization, pengkhususan. through profit-seeking entrepreneurs who bear the consequences of their actions in terms of gains and losses. The entrepreneurs are the ones who have incentive for efficiency and specialization as long as they perceive profit. The profit is the primary motive of economic endeavor, since expectation of profit leads to the expansion of the production, so the enterprise will emerge. David McClelland concluded that individuals with a need to succeed are more likely to become entrepreneurs. In reality, the entrepreneur is the one who has the initiative, innovative skills, and who aims for high achievements. This need for achievement is directly related to the process of entrepreneurship. Competencies will directly stimulate and encourage the usage of the knowledge and skills to align with the organization goals and to achieve organization success. So, the entrepreneurship is a process of economic activity. It is widely recognized as a source of innovation that has impact on economic development. Part of this process of economic activity involves the establishment of new ventures targeted at providing specific solutions to identify the needs or problems in the marketplace where the opportunity arises. There are three dimensions of new venture creation. These dimensions include individual characteristics, organization, and environmental constraints. For example, the organization from the structures, processes, the quality, the finance operation, and other things can lead to new venture, and so do with the environment. For example, the entry barriers, substitute product, the availability of human resources also lead to new venture creation. And the third element is the individual or personal resource based on need for achievement, locus control, knowledge, experience, and others. Functional definition of entrepreneurs offers the following definition. Entrepreneurs are individuals who actively form or lead their own businesses and nurture them for growth and prosperity. Entrepreneurs seldom create new venture entirely on their own and often need a talented team of specialists to facilitate the development and distribution of innovative products and services. Okay, now cyber entrepreneurship. It can be referred to any business that attempt to exploit the information and communication technology with the purpose of generating the profit. The word cyber itself is the culture of computers, virtual reality, and information technology, while entrepreneurship is the process of discovering innovative ideas and consolidate the resources. Cyber entrepreneur or cyberpreneur is an individual who creates a firm that is based on e-commerce and whose main activities include exploiting networks using internet, intranet, and extranet. They transact their businesses on the internet and deal in digital products and services that do not require bricks and mortar. So what is bricks and mortar? Okay, something that do not require a physical business building or structure. Okay, from conventional premise into online. Cyberpreneurs understand that the world is all digital now, and they use this knowledge to come up with companies that could only exist online. For instance, the Netflix or Spotify. Digital enterprises such as these won't be able to exist anywhere else except on the internet. And since their platform exists online, cyberpreneurs can conduct entire transactions including the deliveries, income generation, all in the digital domain. Now, another subtopic, the importance of entrepreneurship to Malaysian economy. Why entrepreneurship is very important. Entrepreneurship is the symbol of business steadfastness and achievement. Entrepreneurial revolution is critical to economic growth because it increases gross domestic product or KDNK, keluaran dalam negara kasar, or pendapatan negara, national income, and thus will increase the economic growth of Malaysia. Entrepreneurship may affect our future in many ways. First, by innovative creation of opportunity. Entrepreneurship nurtures innovation that provides new ventures, products, technology, market quality of goods, and others. For example, the portable phones linked to faxes and laptop returns cars, trains, airport terminal into offices. So because of this technology advancement, we can work anywhere. So it is innovative creation of opportunity. Entrepreneurship not only affect our life through innovation, but represent the working future for many of us due to lays off, due to termination of employment, pembuangan kerja, by large organisation, and thus it will shrink the job opportunity for graduates. So the job opportunities become limited. Entrepreneurship firms contributed a large share of new jobs. It provides entry-level jobs so necessary for gaining experience, especially for unskilled workers. The small enterprises, SME, small medium enterprises, or SMI, small medium industries, are the only sector that generates a large portion of total employment every year in the country. Moreover, these entrepreneurial ventures prepare and supply experienced labor to the large industries. Entrepreneurship is synonym to creation of new venture and small businesses. The growth of establishment of small enterprises have been important contributors to local economic growth, especially in Malaysia. According to the data released by Department of Statistics, in July 2020, SME contribution to the overall GDP increased to 38.9% compared to 38.3% recorded in the previous year. There is a slightly increase, but the total amount is huge. But the percentage in the contribution of national income or GDP still increasing. So this is the importance of entrepreneur or business in Malaysian economy. The entrepreneurial SME or SMIs provide services that the large corporation has neglected or lack of economy of scale for the large corporation to serve. What is economy of scale? Okay, if you learn economics before, principle of economics, in the chapter of cost and production, supposedly you learn about economy of scale. So economy of scale is a condition where you produce goods and services in a massive production with declining average cost. Average cost is the cost per unit. So the more and more scale you produce in the production, in your manufacturing, the cost to produce one unit or the average cost is cheaper. Okay, why? Because they share the same fixed input. For example, they share the same building, the same plant or factory, the same machineries. So the cost per unit becomes smaller. So they enjoy the economy of scale. But sometimes there are certain products that are lack of economy of scale, especially for the large corporation. So they're not interested to produce those goods. So this SMI take a role to provide the neglected or lack of economic scale by the large corporation and supply it to the society. The small companies often focus on niche market, what our local people demand, while larger companies they tend to offer more product and services to a wider variety of consumer, not only what people demand in local area. Another contribution of SME to Malaysian economy, I'm not sure when is the data recorded. In Malaysia, the SME employed around 90% of the total labor force in manufacturing sector and contributed about 26% of the total value added in the sector. The chapter 1 will be continued in another video. In that video, I will focus on Islamic entrepreneurship.